Well, we are so excited to welcome Michael Smith for the first time to TCO PC here at the Vikings practice facility. Michael, thank you so much for being here. He
Thanks for
contributes
having
on
me.
Thursday Night Football and Sunday Night Football. You've seen his stories, read his articles, all that good stuff. But Michael, what are your impressions so far of this place, huh?
Impressive, to say the least. I finally got here, my first time. I've been trying to come for a while, and all it took was the best story in the league right now, and I mean that. I'm not just kissing up, but I mean that. I think this Josh Dobbs story, this run that these Vikings are on, is, for my money, the best story in the NFL, and I'm here to talk to Josh Dobbs for Football Night in America.
You're one of the best storytellers in this
thank
league.
you.
So the fact that Josh Dobbs is attracting you here to Minnesota, that you need to be here, what were some of the things you wanted to ask him or your impressions you got in your conversation with him?
Well, the impressions I got confirmed what I thought, which was you got to be a special guy to have withstood the adversity that he has, to perform the way that he has, not just here in Minnesota, but really all season in Arizona, and in spots before that, under adverse circumstances and on short notice. It's almost like, in case of emergency, break glass, and there's Josh Dobbs. We need a quarterback on short notice. It's like the wolf in Pulp Fiction. He shows up and he solves problems. So I came away with it, convinced of what I already thought, which is that he's a really, really good person. Because for so many teams to want you, it says a lot about the person and the teammate and the professional that you are, to say nothing of the player that he is. And he's just really got a good head on his shoulders. He's got great perspective, obviously processes well, very intelligent, but also very instinctive as well. Communicates well. You want to talk about a storyteller? He made my job easier. The way he tells his story and how he sees his story as being an example of not only somebody who can have a lot of diverse interests and who can be a great student as well as a great athlete, but also somebody who just persevered and who hasn't given up. And who's set goals and who's been disciplined and committed and dedicated. He's a real role model, for young people and really adults. I want to ask him about life. You know what I mean? I'm older than him, probably old enough to be his dad, and he still could teach me a lot. So I was really impressed with the young man, and I really feel like this is such a perfect fit for him. And I know we'll get into the organization in general, but everything that he's gone through and every stop that he's made led him here for a purpose.
It truly is one of the great stories of this season. And you mentioned perfect fit in your answer right there. Why do you think it's worked so well so fast?
Well, I would say first you got to give credit to Kevin O'Connell and his staff, because clearly their system, not only has he been able to pick it up very well, but he's adapted to it very well, and it clearly suits him. Or Kevin O'Connell has adapted his system and his play calling to suit what Josh Dobbs does well. Either way, you consider this a well-coached team in general, but we're talking specifically about the offense for now. Well-coached team in general that has allowed him to flourish and brought out the best in him. But I think more than anything, the culture here, that's what jumps out to me in terms of just the way this team is constructed. From Kwesi on down to the way it's coached on both sides of the ball, all three phases, whether it's KO or flow. And I go back with those guys to New England. So you gotta forgive me. Like I've known Kevin O'Connell since they drafted him in New England.
That's crazy.
I've known Flo since he was scouting before he was coaching in New England. So I go way back with these guys.
So none of this really surprises you right now.
Well, I'd be lying if I thought, because I saw the Vikings week 2 against Philadelphia. I'd be lying if I thought we'd be sitting here with them at 6-4 with the longest winning streak in the league. But given what I know about these guys, no, it doesn't surprise me that they've built the kind of culture, that they constructed the kind of roster and built the kind of culture that, despite so many calls for them to tank and blow it up and start over and trade Kirk Cousins despite the presence of his no-trade clause.
That was the storyline that always stumped me.
I bet you that was pretty annoying on the inside to hear, like, hey, guys, there's a little thing in this contract that precludes anybody. But even beyond that, just it says a lot about this organization as a whole, that not only have they been able to bring in a Josh Dobbs and teach him on the fly and incorporate him on the fly, but just that nobody in this building ever blinked. I don't know how y'all live around here. Y'all must all have high blood pressure, because I know y'all.
Past 2 seasons have been rough.
I know they won every one-score game last year, but now they're back to being in one-score games. And at first they were losing them, but what are they, like 5-1 in their last 6? One game this year, right?
Yes,
is that right?
Has
not been a one-score
game.
Yeah,
it's been, yes.
It is not for the faint of heart to be a Vikings part of this organization, or a fan, or a chronicler of the Vikings, I tell you. But that says something about just the mindset, the culture, the attitude, the collective attitude that this team has been able to just not blink. This team just does not blink. And regardless of what happens the rest of the way this year, not every year, and I know this, sorry, I'm on my soapbox.
Please, go for it.
I know this is hard to say to Vikings fans. Not every year is going to end, like 31 teams don't hoist the Lombardi Trophy. Sometimes you have transition years, and I'm not writing off this season by any means, but sometimes you have seasons that are chapters to a larger story. And I think the fact that this team has weathered this storm so far and is in contention, and regardless of what it does the rest of the way, this bodes well for this franchise in the long run.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I love hearing that.
It's just a great piece of a larger puzzle or picture or a mosaic that maybe we haven't seen yet. You know what I mean? It says something about it. I mean, Justin Jefferson's never going to play again this year. It's like, he
wants to come back.
You know what I mean?
He really does.
Wants to come back to something special.
Yes.
It's just something special, an energy, a vibe in this building and around this franchise I just think speaks to from ownership. I don't want to leave ownership out. Ownership on down and the culture that they've constructed here.
Part of the culture.
Thanks for indulging.
Of course. No, hey, Michael, you have obviously have thought about this team and what you want to talk to Josh about, and you're going to be at the game on Sunday, I'm guessing?
No, I won't, actually.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure you'll be watching at home.
I'll be watching from afar,
But part of all this new culture here is Brian Flores.
Yes.
You watched him in the Patriots. I'm sure you followed his story when he was a head coach with the Miami Dolphins. He comes in here and takes a bottom-ranked defense and makes it middle of the pack, which is all you need when you have a great offense like the Vikings. What's impressed you the most about the job he's done here with the roster that he has? Yeah,
I would say that Flo's going to be Flo. And he's not going to be dictated to. He's going to dictate, and he's going to attack. And he's always going to play his style, and he's going to put players in position to make plays. And I think it's what's made him a good coach over the years. He had an abbreviated stay in Miami for a variety of reasons, but he was successful in Miami under the circumstances. We know what kind of coordinator he's been. And I think it was a real a fit that KO identified and Kwesi identified from the beginning, to have a guy who's, super qualified, if not overqualified, to come and coordinate a complementary defense. To your point, I thought that was an astute point on your part. But it's like, hey, just complement what we do on offense, and let's win games. And I think the other thing about coordinators as well, and it's an underrated aspect of a coordinator, is you have coordinators who are there to win football games, and then you have coordinators who are there to pad their resume and are looking toward their next job. Flo is the type of guy that he's going to coach to the personnel that he has, and he's going to do what's necessary to win games for the Minnesota Vikings. He's going to be where his feet are. If I'm saying that right.
You are,
you know what
definitely.
I mean? So it's not about what's next. What's next or what was even.
Sure.
It's about, how do I put these players in position? And I think you're seeing that with how much fun they're having, how much they're flying around.
Yeah.
I can't. Hats off to him. Hats off. He deserves all the praise. But KO again, to say, hey, I know this guy. I know what he's about. I'm secure in where I am, to bring a guy with that type of personality into the building, knowing that it's for the greater good. And
the position that this team is currently in is a 5-game win streak.
Yep.
Now they're about to play another primetime game in Denver against the Broncos, who are kind of on a little bit of streak of their own. Who'd have thought?
Crazy?
Who'd have thought?
Not me.
Not me.
Like, who would have thought? Look at us.
Look at us.
Not me.
Not me.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you. So, as my role as news analyst for Thursday Night Football on Prime Video, the pregame and postgame shows. So I mentioned the conversation early in the season about the Vikings, and this is game 2 for crying out loud, and the Jets had just lost Rodgers and trade Kirk Cousins and rebuild and start over. Yeah. It's like, okay, but then it wasn't that long ago. I think it was in Kansas City, prior to the trade deadline. Broncos fire sale, blowing it up. That was all the talk around the league. There was a lot of smoke about a fire sale and trading Jerry Jeudy and trading Cortland Sutton and Patrick Surtain, just blowing it up.
And now look.
It's a long season.
It is a lot of football.
It's a long season. You could never underestimate the competitiveness or just the ability to adapt and adjust and how hard everybody's working. So there's Brian Flores here. There's Vance Joseph there. One and long ago, they were getting up 70 points to the Dolphins. And now they got one of the best defenses in the league.
Yep, just
the last month of the season. So, I would say, hope I don't get in trouble for saying this. At one point, Vikings Broncos Week 11 looked like it might be a flex game. Now, a lot of intrigue around this matchup. A lot of intrigue.
Well,
excited.
We can't wait to see it. Thank you so much for being here,
Thank
for
you.
interviewing Josh Dobbs. For Sunday Night Football, that's where you can catch Michael's story as well as seeing him in Baltimore this Thursday on Amazon Prime Video. Thanks for being here.
I appreciate you. Thank you.